Well, good afternoon. My name's Todd Howe. I'm the athletic director for San Antonio ISD, and how about that? I mean, how about that? San Antonio ISD students right there. Unbelievable. I played the trombone in the 7th grade, and that's about it for me. Pretty remarkable. That's gutsy. That's gutsy stuff. Before we get started, we're very lucky today to have a special guest, and we have a lot of special guests, but I just want to share with you briefly about this gentleman I'm going to ask up and just say a few words, is our superintendent, Mr. Martinez. And Mr. Martinez came here about 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago. And he made a statement to me that has stuck in my brain. He said, you know, a lot of our kids grow up in poverty. And when they come to our schools, that poverty should not be reflected in our schools. And I tell my coaches all the time, when you coach kids, when you handle kids, when you show up for a game, when you dress out for games, there should be no signs of poverty in how our kids act or behave, and there's not. And that's a direct result of Mr. Martinez's leadership. I want to read something real quick, Mr. Martinez. I'm going to steal your thunder, but I may steal some of it. And I got to get my glasses. I'm going to read something to you real quick. The first week of school, the Texas Education Agency Commissioner Mike Morath, along with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, kicked off the TEA Accountability Tour on one of San Antonio ISD campuses, Shank Elementary School, that received a campus grade of A. During his comments, the Education Commissioner stated that among the state's largest school districts, SAISD ranked 3rd highest in poverty and gained the most in student achievement and 2nd most in progress of overall performance. Across the SAISD, absolutely, give that a round of applause. Across the SAISD, a total of 27 campuses achieved an A or B rating. This more than triples, not doubles, but triples the number from 2017. Additionally, 42 campuses earned one or more distinction designations from the TEA based on student performance, up from 34 last year. Every single high school earned at least one distinction, and 5 campuses earned all possible distinctions, which include achievement in the areas of ELA, reading, mathematics, science, social studies, academic growth, closing the gaps, and post-secondary readiness. So there is no doubt that there are no signs of poverty in our classrooms. And I'm not a preacher by no means, but there's a Bible verse. If you're a preacher, don't say that's not in the Bible. So I might just wing it here. It talks about somewhere in the Bible where you take someone that's footings on miry clay, and you take that person, you put them on solid ground. And I will tell you what Mr. Martinez has done for our district. He has taken us out of the miry clay, and he's put our feet on solid ground. And I'm very honored to have him here today, come talk to you a little bit. So we're lucky to have you, Mr. Martinez. Come on up. Mr. Pedro Martinez, school superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. It's truly my honor to be here and just to say a few comments. I love the fact that when you look at our honorees, we have Rudy Bernard from Lanier High School. We have Larry Collins from Edison High School. Rudy Davalos from Edison High School. Adrian Butler from Brackenridge High School. Diz Reeves, who was a coach and athletic director here in SAISD, and Gilbert Salinas from Burbank High School. He's actually wearing his Burbank shirt. You know, I just think about if these walls could talk, right? I mean, just all the history that is here. And I know, you know, all of you are here because you have these fond memories of your time in San Antonio ISD. And the reality is that, you know, there's been so many success stories in our district, but there's also been a lot of stories of people that weren't successful. And I'll tell you what I'm seeing now in our district. We have, last year was one of the highest graduation rates ever, over 85%. Over 90% of our students are applying to college. We have more students than ever getting accepted into four-year universities. Our scholarships have went from $50 million to $66 million to $80 million to our students. And I gotta tell you, it is not a coincidence, and I'll say this, I gotta brag about our athletics team. Coach Howie and his staff, they keep pushing every single year because what they see is when they have engaged students, especially in athletics, same thing in music, same thing in ROTC, those students not only graduate, they're our top students. Those students, when they move on beyond us, whether they stay in athletics or they just do something academically, they are successful children. And so this team started opening up all of our middle school gyms for our middle school kids. We had hundreds of children coming to our middle school gyms. We've expanded athletics across all of the schools, our academy leagues now. We have so many kids that want to play. Some schools have 2 or 3 teams. By the way, in case somebody still can coach, we need coaches, by the way. It's one of the big needs we have because we have such a demand. But that's what's happening in our district. And, for your high schools, please, look at our website and look what's happening to the renovations we're doing in the high schools, whether it's Jefferson or Lanier. Burbank will be a brand new high school, literally, like it's going to be built brand new. Significant renovations. And so the classrooms themselves, even though they'll have we'll keep the tradition and the heritage of those schools, the classrooms will be modern 21st century classrooms because our children need to be able to compete. And so just know that is what's happening. So please enjoy yourselves tonight. There's a lot of pride, but just know my staff, they are ready for this year. They couldn't be more prouder of the work they've done, and they're just looking forward to this year. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Martinez mentioned something that, some districts are scaling down their athletics, not us. We've added, good gravy, it seems like 100. We've added 21 academies. 7 K through 8 academies are now playing athletics in our district, include already on top of our high schools and all of our middle schools. So we have increased opportunities for athletes exponentially. We host over almost 7,000 athletic events a year, not counting the high schools. So we're pretty busy. So if you can coach, if you can officiate, and you got your, officiate you may not want to do, but if you want to get back into coaching, see me before you leave. Okay, very good. Let's get started. Hey, thank you all again for coming out to the San Antonio ISD Athletic Hall of Fame. And these inductees tonight, the word legend means to me is the substance of what stories are told. And when you sit around the campfire or sit around the backyard or whatever you're sitting around, you're talking about Burbank basketball, you're talking about great athletic directors, you're talking about great track stars, you're talking about great basketball coaches, administrators, you're talking about the people that are going to be honored tonight. They are what stories are told about. There's a banner on the wall up here. You can see the Burbank banner. That's known as the Gilbert Salinas, and I think Gilbert might have played in those games. I'm not sure if he did or not. You see 1960, was that 7? I can't see from here. But that's kind of his cape. And we're excited to have him here tonight. But it's going to be a great night. So understand, we're going to go through this thing not quick. We got some great videos for you. I was going to tell Mr. Collins we have a video of him of actually fumbling a football tonight, so I think you get a kick out of that. But what he does afterwards is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So anyway, but sit back, enjoy. We'll have time after the show tonight to go out to the Hall of Fame wall, stick around, take pictures. We're not in a hurry. So anyway, sit back and enjoy the show. It's going to be a good one. I want to bring up Mario Rios. Mario is the man with the plan. And I make sure the AED is always charged in the back of the building just in case Mario falls out. I always brush up on my CPR when I'm around him. He's always on the move, and he loves this event. And without him, this event would not happen. So I want to give Mario a round of applause, if y'all don't mind, because he works tirelessly on this event. I just show up and stutter through a couple of talking points, and I'm done. Also in back, the girls in the back who are working the tables and getting you all to your seats. This is our biggest crowd we ever had. Last year we had about 250, tonight almost 400. And hopefully the food was good. Yeah, absolutely. And anyway, I'm going to get out of the way, so enjoy the evening. Mario, you're on.
Thank you, Coach Howie. Yes, please give him a round of applause. Coach Howie and the athletic office do an amazing job here for our school district. It's great to see so many happy faces here. Just like Coach Howie said, this is a record-breaking crowd. So, this is we've done this 5 years. You guys are our largest. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. I am Mario Rios, and I work in the communications office for the school district. On behalf of the district, we would like to welcome each one of you to our 5th annual 2019 San Antonio ISD Athletic Hall of Fame. It is a great event where we get the unique opportunity to honor our rich history. First, let's recognize again our presenting of colors by the Edison High School JROTC Golden Bear Battalion. Cadets are Brianna Esquivel, Angelo Flores, Nathan Guajardo, and Michael Guajardo, and Student Cadet Commander Grace Valderas, and their instructor is Chaplain Major Joe Jeffries. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you, Edison JRO2C. And how about our national anthem saxophone player? Santiago Hernandez is a junior at Jefferson High School. His teacher is Jonathan Mireles, the Jefferson band director. Santiago is sitting at the back with his proud parents. Please give Santiago and his family and his teacher a round of applause. We appreciate you. On stage in a moment, we're going to have the Burbank cheerleaders representing Bulldog Nation. They are Jordan Hernandez, Madison Gutierrez, Cameron Salazar, Mia Tejeda Guerra, Joey Ludres, Angela Naranjo, and Mia Diaz, and their cheer teacher is Miss Beatriz Cenas. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Burbank, for being here. They're right here to the side here. Please give them a big round of applause. We have some journalism students here. We have a reporter and photographer from Burbank High School. They are Christian Zamaron and Sarah Torres. Their teacher is Ms. Michelle Wisniewski, who each year has been a big supporter for our Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you, Bulldog News Crew. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. You might have noticed some of the TV cameras in the room. We are proud to say that those TV cameras are being operated by our very own SAISD students. They are the amazing Brackenridge High School video production team, and their teacher sponsor is Mr. Robert Blackard. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you, BRAC TV. And of course, right over here to my left is all that great music that came earlier during our pre-show. We heard it from the award-winning Brackenridge High School Mariachis under the direction of Mr. John Nieto. Please give BRAC Mariachis a big round of applause. We appreciate you guys. Great job to all of our students and organization sponsors. We'd like to recognize some special guests in the room. First, we have our leader superintendent, Pedro Martinez, who we heard from earlier. Thank you again, sir, for your great leadership. We definitely appreciate you, sir. Thank you. We have one of the best school boards around, and some of our honorable trustees are here. Board President Patty Radel, representing District 5 and the Lanier Cluster. Thank you, Ms. Radel. We appreciate you. And we have Vice President Art Valdez, representing District 4 and the Burbank Cluster. Mr. Valdez, thank you for all your work, sir. We'd also like to recognize members of the district executive and cabinet teams who are here this afternoon. Thank you for your support. We appreciate you guys. We'd like to recognize members of the media who come out today. We have a lot of members from the media. Thank you for your support and your coverage. We want to welcome our 2019 SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame honorees, who we will meet later in the program. We'd also like to recognize any of our past SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame honorees. If you are out there, please give us the big wave. I know I saw some of you earlier. Wayne Dickey from Sam Houston is here. Vic Castillo from the 1963 state football champions from BRAC is here. David Vela, Burbank wide receiver, football days. And there's a lot more of you. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your support. Later in the program, you will see video tributes that we have produced. The video narrator of those videos is here, Mr. Tino Esquivel. Thank you, sir, for your great work. We appreciate you. Thank you, sir. We'd also like to recognize Matt DeWalshy from the City of San Antonio Library, who played a big role in helping us find some of the research and materials of honorees. He's standing right there in the back of the room. Mr. Matt, thank you for all the great work you've done for us and San Antonio ISD. We'd also like to send a special shout out to the San Antonio ISD Foundation. Judy Gilhold and the SAISD Foundation team do amazing work to help our students and teachers in all of our schools. And the foundation are big supporters of our Athletic Hall of Fame event. The foundation's Inspire Awards event is coming up in October, where we also honor alumni, and it is one of our big fundraisers of the year. If you would like to learn more about the event, please visit SAISDfoundation.com. We appreciate the SAISD Foundation. Please give them a big round of applause. Thank you for all your hard work. Judy Gilhold, thank you so much for your support. And please, family, friends, SAISD staff, and the community, without all of you, none of this would be possible. Please give yourselves a big round of applause. We appreciate all of you. Thank you. Welcome to the Alamo Convocation Center, formerly known as Alamo Gym, located right here next to the historic Alamo Stadium. There is a lot of history here. SAISD is more than 100 years old, and you can imagine there have been thousands and thousands of great athletes and coaches who have performed right here in the famed Alamo Stadium complex. Some of the greatest sport memories that the city of San Antonio has ever seen happened right here in SAISD. A lot of us have heard the legendary stories: football, basketball, baseball, track. You name the sport, and you can bet that SAISD, with its colorful history, has left its mark on the world of sports. The UIL was formed in the year 1910, the year high school state champions were first recognized in Texas. Did you know that since then, San Antonio ISD has won a record-breaking 73 state championships in almost every sport you can think of? Now that's amazing. 73 state championships right here in San Antonio ISD. That is beautiful. Our first state championship came 99 years ago. It was in the year 1920. It came in tennis at Maine High School, which we now call Fox Tech High School. And our last state championship came in this decade, 2010, when a last place qualifier for the state track meet, Johnny Camacho from Brackenridge, stunned the state by winning the gold medal in the 800-meter run. And just this past spring, SAISD came a heartbeat away from winning another state championship when Valerie Navarro Cavazos from Burbank High School finished runner-up in the state tennis tournament. We have a lot to be proud of. Besides state championships, there have been many, many big games for SAISD. In the fall of 2013, the Brackenridge Eagles football team pulled a rabbit out of the hat by upsetting then heavily favored Alamo Heights in a state playoff game played right here in Alamo Stadium. The quarterback for Brackenridge in that game was Ramon Richards, who led his team to victory. Ramon Richards, an SAISD product, is now living the dream. Ramon is entering his second year of playing in the NFL. He plays defensive back for the Los Angeles Rams, a team that made it to the Super Bowl just this last year. Ramon knows all about our Athletic Hall of Fame event and couldn't be here because he is getting ready to play in tonight's big preseason football game against the Dallas Cowboys. However, Ramon wanted to share a special video message with all of us here in the room. If I could please direct your attention to the big screens at the side of the stage, let's take a look at Ramon's message. Let's roll the tape.
Hey, friends and family of San Antonio ISD Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm Ramon Richards, an NFL football player with the Los Angeles Rams and a proud 2014 graduate of Brackenridge High School here in SAISD. In my career, I've had the opportunity to prepare my team for the Super Bowl. I would like to congratulate all of these special honorees this afternoon being inducted to the 2019 SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame. You guys are legends, and a lot of us who came after you all looked up to you as an inspiration in our athletic careers. Here's a big shout out to San Antonio Independent School District and the Athletic Hall of Fame. I am proud to call myself an alumni. SAISD is my home. It is where I started. It's where I finished. I carry out SAISD in my heart now and forever. Go SAISD.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Ramon Richards. Now, he is a true SAISD hero. There are many, many other great sports heroes and memories here in SAISD. The best of the best are honored with events such as this, our San Antonio ISD Athletic Hall of Fame. All of our honorees this afternoon will get a historical bronze plaque that is permanently mounted at the visitor entrance of Alamo Stadium. It is the SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame wall where all the inductee plaques are on display. After our event this afternoon, we encourage you to swing by the area to take a look at the Hall of Fame wall. It is located just right through the corridor outside this building. It's definitely an impressive wall of fame. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored and proud to introduce our Master of Ceremonies. Chuck Mikatenick is the sports director and anchor at Fox 29 here in San Antonio. He has worked in the media for nearly 3 decades. The man is a true professional, and I had the distinct honor of getting to work with him at Kins TV back in the 1990s. We covered a lot of sports stories together, and it is simply a thrill for me to introduce him. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a great friend to San Antonio ISD, the one and only Chuck Mikatenik. Mr. Chuck.
Thank you. Wow, look at all the beautiful people here tonight. They usually don't let people like me into swanky events like this unless there's some sort of strip search involved before, so thank you for having me. Back when I was getting ready to come to this event tonight, my son goes, "Gee, Dad, why are you all swanked out? You know, you look like you're going somewhere really nice." And I was like, "Yeah, man, the kind folks at SAISD asked me to host their Hall of Fame, their Sports Hall of Fame banquet tonight." And he's like, "Dad, I want you to enjoy every single moment. Take it all in. Relish every single millisecond that you're there, because it's as close to a Hall of Fame that you will ever get." Yeah, he's going to think it's real funny when I put a freeze on his tuition check for the fall. So. But really, thanks for the great induction. I was actually very fortunate to do the first one of these 4 years ago, and I guess I did such a great job. It took Mario 4 years to ask me back, so I'll try to up my game today. But we are introducing and inducting 6 honorees into the 2019 San Antonio ISD Athletic Hall of Fame tonight. All the inductees have made a tremendous impact at San Antonio ISD and beyond. We will be presenting each honoree with a replica award on stage this afternoon. As you can see, with our friends, the Burbank cheerleaders are here to help us do that. And the permanent award is going to be mounted, as Mario said, at the Alamo Stadium right over here, right there in the concourse. It's really, really sweet. If you ever get a chance to go over there, if you get time to do that tonight, I suggest you do. It's really cool. All right, now without further ado, let's meet our first honoree. Rudy.
Rudy J. Bernal served as the Lanier High School boys basketball head coach for 31 years, from 1983 to 2014, which included 2 back-to-back appearances in the UIL Class 4A state tournament in 2000 and 2001. His teams were nicknamed the Blonde Bombers due to the fact that his players would dye their hair blonde during their playoff runs. Bernal was a defensive mastermind who coached his players to be aggressive and feisty when defending the court. His teams were known to fill up gymnasiums and play in front of standing room only crowds.
The Blonde Bombers of San Antonio Lanier.
In 2001, Bernal led his team to a 32-win season and rolled into the state championship game by upsetting 6'10" Chris Bosch and his Dallas Lincoln team 50-48 in the state semifinals. Bosch, who went on to become an NBA All-Star, till this day still calls the Lanier loss one of the toughest losses in his entire basketball career. Bernal's overall record for the Vokes was 567 wins and 442 losses. He won 4 district championships, made 15 state playoff appearances, and won 27 playoff games. His father, Ramiro Bernal, was a player on legendary coach Nemo Herrera's 1943 Lanier basketball team that won the state championship. In 2019, Bernal won a private school state basketball championship in TAPS 6A.
Just the fact that, being at Lanier High School in San Antonio ISD for 31 years, I had opportunities to go elsewhere, and it was something that I thought about, but never really considered going somewhere else. I was happy, and we were winning, and we were successful, and to be able to get to the state tournament a couple of times, not very many coaches can say that they've done that. So for me to be able to do that at Lanier High School in San Antonio ISD is, I'm proud to say that I belong there.
Rudy J. Bernal, a Lanier Vote, and a 2019 honoree in the SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame.
we were kidding with Coach Bernal earlier about, oh, here we go. Is it working? No? All right. This is where Sister Florentia in second grade and all that payoff now, for her telling me to speak to the back of the room as a second grader, pays off. But we were joking with Coach Bernal earlier about the fact that, you know, he's had all these great teams and he's had all these accolades, but normally these kinds of accolades are reserved for fellas that are done coaching. He's done coaching in SAISD, but you're still winning, Coach. I mean, how cool is this?
Very cool. I guess, you would say that.
Thank you, Mario.
For me to be able, to be able to still be coaching, I'm doing what I love to do. I love seeing the kids that I coach have success, and that means a lot more to me than just about anything.
And how about this event tonight and getting a chance to be reacquainted with so many people? I'm sure that, kind of helped you along the way.
I've seen quite a few people here that it's been a long time since I've seen. Try and keep in touch with a lot of my former players. So it's great to see a lot of those guys here, a lot of my family and relatives and former teachers and administrators. It's just, hard to believe that I'm getting a chance to stand up here and do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Bernal. If you check out the bling too. Okay, let's take a look and see the beautiful plaque that will be hanging right over here at Alamo Stadium. It's a replica, but you get the gist. Very nice. One more time for Rudy Bernal, everybody. Okay. The Blonde Ambition Tour, Rudy Bernal. Okay. Now for our next honoree. This man was really fast on a football field, no doubt about it. He was crafty. Quite frankly, he was just flat out great. Larry Collins from Edison High School was a big-time high school running back in San Antonio, went on to become an All-American and also play in the NFL. Still love, look like he can still play too, right? The suit's not bad either. Thank you. Let's take a look at this man's story.
Larry Collins, this 1974 Edison High School alum, was known as a sizzling speedster running back with great peripheral vision. Collins rushed for back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons his junior and senior year in high school and was one of the top 2 running backs in San Antonio for most yards rushed. He was a 4-year letterman on the Golden Bears football team, and he was named to the All-City team 3 times. He finished 3rd in the 100-yard dash and 5th in the 220-yard dash his senior year at the UIL State Track Meet. His career best in the 100-yard dash was a blazing 9.36 seconds. At Texas A&I, now Texas A&M Kingsville, Collins was a 2-time Little All-American football player. He rushed for 4,511 total yards and became the state's top collegiate rusher, a record he held for more than a decade. He played between 1974 to 1977, and during that period, the Javelinas compiled a 46-1-1 record and won 3 NAIA national championships. After his college career, Collins was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, and he also played for the New Orleans Saints in the NFL.
The Browns won the coin toss, and now in sudden death, another raw rookie paid his first dividend. Larry Collins gave the hometown fans heart failure. Then, number 23 picked up the overtime kickoff and burned it back 41 yards to midfield. The rookie speedster has the distinction, along with Tony Dorsett, of being the only collegian in NCAA history to rush for 1,000 yards each of his 4 years.
San Antonio Independent School District, those guys I played with, some of them was before my time. I dreamed to be like some of those guys. I was a dream to be able to come over here to Alamo Stadium and say, Gary Green, Tommy Nobles, Warren McVeigh, those are guys I wanted to be alike. And just the opportunity to get to come to San Antonio Independent School District to play over here at Alamo Stadium, it was a dream, and it was a blessing that I did get opportunity to go further and play. And it just, everything was a dream. Everything was a blessing because the guys that I played with I feel they made our team. I was just a part of the guys being there. But football has brought me a long way. San Antonio Independent School District, I love you, man. You've been great to me. San Antonio, I appreciate you so much.
Larry Collins, an Edison Golden Bear, and a 2019 honoree into the SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Collins. Let's take a look at the replica. It's for all time, baby. Thank you for being here. Collins, if you don't mind coming over here, we'll like to kind of take you down memory lane and all these people see your beautiful face.
Yes.
Okay, you played at all three levels, sir. Could you tell us first off, what were some of your fondest memories? Does anything stand out in particular playing ball here in San Antonio?
Well, yes, here at Alamo Stadium was probably one of my most fondest time. I remember as a freshman, I got the opportunity. I was actually playing middle school, San Antonio Independent School District with Mark Twain. We had a city championship game here. But when I got the opportunity to go to Edison, the school that I dreamed of because I lived a couple of blocks from it, it was just, I felt like it was just unstoppable. The coach gave me an opportunity to get in and start as a freshman in high school. And I think my second game, I got 1,000 yards, 100 yards each game. And Coach Stone told me, Morris Stone, the late Morris Stone, said, Larry Collins, if you work as hard as I think you can work, you have a position here. And God bless him today, gave me an opportunity to leave Thomas Edison, fortunate, very fortunate to be able to get a scholarship to go down to Texas A&M, A&I Kingsville. And I guess from there, we would say it was history because A&I became a great, great opportunity to get my name out there and to become an NFL ball player.
Coach Stone had a good eye, obviously, at a very young age. All right, fondest memory in Kingsville?
Well, I guess I have a coach in here tonight, Coach Harms. I remember my very, very first game. I thought when I went down to A&I Kingsville that I was going to start right away, but I didn't. Coach Stanky told me, he said, Larry Collins, you have an opportunity to play here, but we have a senior here in front of you, and we're going to start him in this game. The year prior to that, A&I went 2-8. I didn't think I was going to play. He had a senior guy. First series went out, we was playing the national championship team from the year prior to. Another coach here, Coach Jonas, one of the greatest defensive coaches around. 3 and out, the national championship team, he stopped them. Our guy went in there, Brian Shaw, which was the senior in front of me. They went 3 and out, and I guess he didn't quite do his job. Coach Harms, you here? Coach Harms told me, I heard him, I was sitting on the bench, and my head was down like, I'm not going to get to play. And I heard him say, Collins! Oh, my God. I turned, believe me. And when that happened, he said, Collins, you've been doing it at practice. I want to see you run that 21 counter. And he said, you're going to make that step to the right, but you're going to cut it back. And so happened, Richard Ritchie, he called that play. And I went, it was a 79 yards, my very first touch of the ball. It was a 79-yard touchdown. I think when I took off to the left, it was about 3 blocks down the road when they stopped me. And yes. And that night, I ended up with 189 yards as a freshman coming out of Thomas Edison, San Antonio Independent School District. You did your job. I thank you very much. I love you.
You're a very humble man, sir. A great man. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing those stories. Larry Collins, everybody. All right, now for our next honoree. This man also comes from Edison High School. He's the Golden Bears' all-time leading scorer in basketball. He won a college national championship and even coached the San Antonio Spurs. It's not a lot this man has not done in his lifetime. Rudy Davalos is our next honoree. Let's take a look at his story.
Rudy Davalos was an all-state basketball point guard for Edison High School. The 1956 graduate became the school's all-time leading scorer during his 4 years on the varsity team. He received a college scholarship to play basketball at Wharton Junior College and Southwest Texas State, now Texas State University. In 1960, Davalos led his Southwest Texas State Bobcats team to an NAIA National Basketball Championship over Westminster College in Pennsylvania. He worked as an assistant and head college basketball coach before becoming an assistant basketball coach for the San Antonio Spurs in its inaugural season of 1973. Davalos was with the Spurs for 3 seasons, and he coached early Spurs greats, the Iceman George Gervin and James Silas. Davalos has the distinction of being named the first ever athletic director at the University of Texas at San Antonio. He spent 8 years at UTSA, where he helped select the school's fight song and create the Roadrunner Club, an organization that raises funds for the athletic program. He left UTSA in 1986 to become the associate athletic director at the University of Houston. In 1992, he was hired as the athletic director at the University of New Mexico, a position where he became a legendary sports leader for the Lobos. When he retired in 2006, the basketball center at the University of New Mexico was named after Rudy Davalos.
I had a lot of people, during my formative years that helped me grow as an individual. Yeah, that was probably one of the biggest thrills. I had a good time. I had a good career there. And had a lot of friends.
Rudy Davalos, an Edison Golden Bear, and a 2019 honoree into the SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame.
Welcome to the San Antonio Independent School District Sports Hall of Fame, my man. Let's take a look at this plaque here. That happened to me the first year. That's why they asked me not to do it this year. Mr. Davalos, we'll get you over here for some pictures. Stand right next to this young lady. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Davalos. Mr. Davalos, come back over here. Get you guys to walk around. And joining us up on stage is Wayne Aaron, who was one of Coach Davalos' teammates back in the Edison days. So start over here. Mr. Davalos, can you tell us just how proud you are to be here tonight, and did you ever think like you'd have an honor like this come your way?
No, I think when you're in high school, you don't think about that. I was fortunate in having Coach Marvin Greer and Paul McCarley and Pat Shannon, who were coaches at Edison, and they made it possible for me to be successful in high school, and I was able to play with good players like Wayne Aaron, and No, I didn't think, I didn't think I'd be here.
Well, I mean, you've had a remarkable career in so many different areas. I mean, certainly worthy of this honor. Mr. Aaron, can you tell us, do you remember any good stories about this young man playing ball back in the day?
I sure do. One of the favorite moments of my life and Rudy's life is when he was chosen for the All-Star game, represent our school and play in the big event in Austin, Texas. Rudy was All-State. He called me up and he said, I got to get ready. I don't know if I'm in shape right, but let's get out there and work out. So we go over to the Alamo Stadium, high school, and we're working out one-on-one, shooting free throws, and then he said, let's do some sprints. So we sprint. Then we decided that we would sprint backwards. And he's at one end and I'm at the other, and as God is my witness, we met in the center of the gymnasium and damn near killed each other. And I thought, holy smoke, this is just not going to be good for me. I've hurt my best friend. He goes off to the All-Star game. We won't say who the coach's name was, but he said, hey, you're only 5'9". We got 4 guards. We're going to start the tallest guard, and we'll get you in the game, Rudy. What he didn't know is that Rudy has arms that are 38 inches long. Be careful. He can pick your wallet, and you won't even know it's missing. Those are some of the fun things I wanted to share with you.
Thank you, sir. And congratulations on a fine honor, Mr. Davalos. Rudy Davalos, everybody. And thank you, Mr. Aaron. It's like it's all coming full circle here for me. I remember Coach Davalos coming to Laredo when I was first starting out, and he brought Jack Pardee to town with him. I was like, man, it was like football royalty and athletics royalty coming to little Laredo to, talk to the TV stations down there. That was really cool. All right, let's see here. Who is next? Our next honoree is a young lady who was faster than a speeding bullet. She'd be a great addition to the Avengers. Super fast, like ridiculously fast. 3-time All-American at Georgia Tech. Adrian Lapsley Butler, a Brackenridge alum. Let's look at her story.
Adrian Lapsley Butler was a 4-year star on the Brackenridge High School track team and is regarded as one of the fastest short hurdlers in school history. The 2002 graduate finished 5th in the 100-meter hurdles at the UIL State Track Meet in her junior year. Her career best time in the short hurdles was a sizzling 14.17 seconds in high school. She also led her twice in basketball and volleyball. She was recruited by Georgia Tech University, where she soared and became a 3-time NCAA All-American, once in the 60-meter indoors and twice in the 4x100-meter relays. One of her favorite running events in college was the 100-meter dash, where she ran a career best 11.30 seconds. The 2006 Georgia Tech graduate currently holds the school record in the 55-meter indoors, as well as the 4x100-meter and 4x200-meter relays. In 2007, she was named the assistant women's track and field coach at Georgia Tech, a position she still holds today.
I love San Antonio ISD mostly because of the people that I met. I started, my first school was John J. Pershing Elementary School. And from Pershing Elementary School to Davis Middle School to Brackenridge High School, I was surrounded by people who didn't expect less from us, even though most of us came from less. There were a lot of families that didn't have a lot of money, didn't have the best home situation, but no one ever lowered the bar for me. I was on a quiz bowl team, academic, I call it my nerd events. In addition to my athletic things, there were always teachers and coaches that, whether they saw something special in me or they saw something special in everyone they worked with, they made it clear, if I worked hard, I could get a lot out of this situation. The lack of resources didn't translate into a lack of expectation. And I think you'd like to think that every kid gets that opportunity, but I know that's not the case. So I think that's what made me love San Antonio Independent School District so much, the people. And I think if I didn't have that early, I wouldn't have acknowledged how important it was later.
Adrian Lapsley Butler, a Brackenridge Eagle and a 2019 honoree into the SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame.
Adrian Lapsley Butler, everybody. All right, let's take a look at the plaque. You're too young to have this happen this early in life, aren't you? How cool. Adrian, how in the world did you end up at Georgia Tech?
I was a nerd before I was an athlete, so I wasn't really expecting to compete in athletics in college, honestly. So I had a list of things I wanted to study. Engineering wasn't one of them, so Georgia Tech wasn't on my list, but as I started to kind of combine my love of academics and sports, my coach, Coach Harvey, who was here, and Ed Heim, helped me whittle it down to schools that could kind of challenge me in both areas that weren't in Texas, because I didn't want to stay in Texas.
I mean, your story's so cool, but do you have maybe one or two things that you can share with us, highlights from your athletic endeavors? I know there are a lot to name.
Most of them weren't actually like on the field of play. One of my best friends, Courtney, is here, and we ran together, and one of my favorite memories that has to do with school or athletics is actually us laughing and dancing in the locker room before practice, because practice was usually pretty hard and it wasn't fun, so we would have a lot of fun before. And beyond that, in college, one of my favorite memories is my sophomore year. I transitioned into a sprinter. I got there as a long jumper, and that wasn't working out, and my coach changed events in the first meet that I sprinted in. I tried really, really hard, and it didn't go well, and my coach was really honest about that, and I remember calling home and telling my dad, I just don't think I'm getting it. I don't know what they're trying to teach. And he said, if nothing is learned, then nothing was taught. You need to go talk to your coach and figure out what you're supposed to do. And that's kind of stuck with me as I was an athlete and now as a coach. So those are probably two things that stand out the most.
Well, how about a lesson or two that you learned in athletics that have helped you in the real world post-athletic career?
Biggest one, it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish. And your path only has to make sense to you. I wasn't the tallest or the fastest or the best at much, other than working really hard and not giving up. So that worked for me.
And you're also, we can tell, quite humble. Adrian, congratulations on the honor. Adrian Lapsley Butler, everybody. We're going to send this list over to the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame, right? After this? A lot of people need to go in there, too. Okay. This next man is one of those old school high school coaches that can scare the pee-waddling out of you, if you know what I mean. Diz Reeves is an icon in these parts. Yep. Longtime coach, athletic director here at SAISD, did a lot for the district, which included the building of a big-time sports facility. Let's take a look at Coach Reeves' story.
Diz Reeves was a longtime San Antonio ISD coach and athletic director who was instrumental in building the SAISD sports complex. The West Texas native was a star baseball pitcher in high school and college. He was known to throw a mean fastball, and pro scouts clocked his pitch in the mid-90s. An injury shortened his athletic career. After baseball, Reeves became an educator. He was a teacher, coach, and administrator for 21 years in the SAISD. He worked in the field of education for 39 years, including 25 years as a head baseball coach. He was a football coach at Connell Middle School and Breckenridge High School, and a baseball coach at Highlands High School. He won a city championship at Connell and won district championships at Brack and Highlands. He became the SAISD athletic director in 1995. He was the mastermind in building a state-of-the-art baseball, softball, and soccer sports complex on the southwest side of San Antonio, next to Burbank High School. The $7.9 million facility opened January 29, 2000, and features 3 softball fields, 2 soccer and football fields, and 1 indoor hitting facility. The sports complex has showcased several big high school games and even played host to the Dallas Cowboys summer training camp in 2003. The primary baseball field at SAISD Sports Complex was renamed the Diz Reeves Diamond in 2018.
San Antonio ISD made a better coach out of me, made a better person out of me. I learned from my student athletes. I learned that they wanted to win just as bad as anybody else, maybe more. They wanted to be a success, something in their lives. I felt like that a lot of them didn't have a father figure. And there were a lot of kids that had that. And there had to be a void, and a mom can only do so much. And so I tried to fill that in whenever I could, that void, and to try to help that youngster to where that he would be a success when he graduated from SAISD. That is a working situation, and it's a success is when the youngster comes up to tell you, say, Coach, I just got to tell you, I'm so happy to play for you, and you stick out your hand to shake hands with him. He walks through your hand and hugs you, and he's got tears, and those wet tears hit your cheeks. And you know that what you were doing was the correct thing. And that's what we tried to do for San Antonio ISD students.
Diz Reeves, a 2019 honoree into the SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame.
Sans cowboy hat on that one, huh? Let's go over here. Well, Coach Reeves, I know I liked you because you're a baseball guy, first and foremost, but you were just sharing a little story with me. You know, I don't know if you guys noticed during the video montage, Coach Reeves was all up in some referee's grill. And the story behind that is?
I'd like to forget that one. That actually was on the front page of a big-time newspaper, and they told me I got closer to the officials in their chapter than any other coach. But the deal was, back then, that year, I was coaching in a high school all-star game, and I had Bob Brunig was my middle linebacker, and I like to tell that. And but anyway, and so they had a fair catch signal. And that year you had to really get up there and wave real big, you know, and let you know that you wasn't going to run with the ball. Well, my boy did this, and he took off, you know, after that. And then anyway, they throw a flag come over there 15 yards. And I said, whoa, what for? He said, he didn't wave. And I said, sir, he did too. And I said, run, hey, stop, and I'll go up there and get the cameraman and show you. Well, anyway, he told me to shut up and sit down, and threw another 15 yards. I was the offensive player of the All-Star game. Got more yards than anybody else. But after the ball game, I went over to our dressing room, and I got Bob Brunig and handed him my program. And I said, Bob, would you sign this? Coach, why do you want my autograph? I said, son, you're going to be a hoss. Anyway, and of course, the rest is history.
Okay, during your time here, Coach Reeves, what stands out? What are you most proud of?
Wow, so many things, Chuck. You know, when you look at my picture, you say, what in the world is a West Texas boy doing down in San Antonio? And my problem was, I came down here, a superintendent called me, and then a friend of mine I went to college with. I hate to say anything about A&I, but only one time where I went to college did we ever beat A&I, and that was after I left. And that was Alpine, a little school in Alpine, Texas called Sul Ross. And anyway, we had a great quarterback one year and a couple of wide receivers, and we accidentally beat A&I. But anyway, so, you know, the deal was that when you grow up south of Lubbock, Texas, and my dad had 12 in his family, 9 boys and 3 girls. And we all learned how to work, and we were cotton farmers. And man, I tell you what, if you were that tall, you learned how to carry a hoe with you and chop cotton. Well, I knew one thing, that wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. And then one day I had something that really changed my whole life. The Lord changed my life. And I'm shifting gears on you, and I'm double clutching it right now. And I forgot my basketball uniform on a Saturday morning, and I lived 25 miles out in the country. And thank goodness that my friend that I was playing basketball with borrowed his sister's car, and we went 25 miles out and got my travel bag. And you know what it would have been like to get your basketball uniform, and you're going to a tournament to play, and my Lord, they would have chastised you the rest of your life. So anyway, we got that basketball uniform. We came into town, and anyway, and we just came around the corner, and there was these 2 Cadillacs sitting there side by side. And my friend wasn't really, I don't think he was paying attention, and so we hit both of those cars, and it threw me through the windshield, and then back through when we hit the second one. And right then, I was paralyzed, and I was bleeding to death, and they came over and priced me out of the car and set me down over on a lawn chair, and here came the ambulance, and they took everybody else away, and there they left me sit over there bleeding. As they say in West Texas, I was bleeding like a stuck hog. Okay, and so all of a sudden, this friend of mine that was 2 years ahead of me came driving up in his fancy car. He was fixing to graduate and go off and play college football. And anyway, he came up and he saw me sitting over there, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. I'm waiting for the ambulance. And so he picked me up, put me in the back of his car that had white leatherette in the back seat. They hauled me about a half a mile to the hospital, and he told me that he reached back there and he got me, picked me up, and he said I was real chalky colored. And he said, I thought you were dead. And so get me in there at the doctor. The doctor comes out and tells him, he says, son, you just saved that boy's life. One more minute, he bled to death. And then they told me I'd never, ever play a down, an inning, a bounce of basketball, anything. And I was a 4-sport guy. And I had a dad and 8 uncles, boy, that were tougher than nails in athletics. And so my heart was gutted that I could no longer play what I lived my whole life for. And when I was in Little League, they tell me, you know, you're going to play professional baseball because you can throw BBs. And so it like to kill me. And so when I got out of that hospital, I came back to basketball practice the day second semester. I came back and came to practice, and my basketball coach says, Diaz, what are you doing here? Well, don't we have basketball practice? And he said, well, I thought the doctor said you'd never be able to play sports again. And I said, well, they gave me okay to play. And this is all I could do. I couldn't run, I couldn't jump, and he knew I was lying like a dog. He let me come out there, so I finished doing what I was telling you I did. Then I went to track. The gun would go off, and I was a low and high hurdler and a 200-meter guy. Of course, they called it 220 then. My upper body would go, but my legs wouldn't go to 2 after the gun went off and all that. I went ahead. I was so far behind everybody in the hurdles, you know, they would sit there and already have the water boys out there giving water. Came baseball. Wasn't quite as bad. I played with my high school football coach in the summer with the grown men. And I could throw in the 90s then, and not too many people could. But I put the fear of God in a lot of guys when I'd hum that 90-something mile an hour fastball right at them. And that was fun. And you didn't have to be fast or anything to do that. And so I'm almost through with this story. Clancy, where are you, Clancy?
In the back.
Clancy threatened to pull me off of here with a rake if I didn't talk too long. Anyway, so the bottom line is this. I had to teach myself to be an athlete again. I ran every day. I lifted weights, homemade weights made out of popcorn cans filled full of cement and a 1-inch pipe. And I lifted all that and ran 2 or 3 times a day when I'd come in, a couple of miles. And so the guy, anyway, I worked myself up and went on and played college, a year and a half of college basketball and 3 years of college baseball. I made all conference and all that, but there was one thing that stuck in my craw. Number one was the doctor told me that my growth plate said I was going to be 6'2.5", 6'3". That's what my growth plate. Lord, I'm still waiting. I'm 5'11" with my boots on. All right, so the bottom line is he's fixing to pull me out of here. But
I would never do that, Coach Reeves.
But I had to say that story because I used what worked on me for all my boys from Connell Middle School, from Highlands High School, from Breckenridge. I used what worked on me on y'all, and that's one of the reasons y'all won.
Diz Reeves, you all. Coach Reeves, that was amazing. Thank you, sir. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Let's take- Good seeing you, man.
I didn't know what else.
No, you're good. He said he didn't know what to say. He also said, they must have run out of names, that's why I'm here. All right, now to our final honoree. This man is a living giant on the basketball court. On the south and west sides of San Antonio, he is a legend, there's no question about that. Gilbert Salinas was one of the best high school basketball players to ever come out of our city, had an amazing career here, and then went on to bigger and better things some other places too. Let's take a look at Gilbert Salinas' story.
Gilbert Salinas was known as a dominating giant on the basketball court who shattered city and national scoring records for Burbank High School. At a towering 6 feet 11 inches tall, the 1977 Burbank graduate was an All-American and All-State basketball player. The center forward was the cornerstone of the 1977 Burbank team that powered its way through the UIL playoffs before bowing to Dallas South Oak Cliff in the Class 4A state championship tournament. He was a 4-year starter on the varsity basketball team and once blocked 18 shots in one game, a city record that stood for nearly 2 decades. In his high school career, Salinas set the city of San Antonio scoring record with 2,204 total points. His scoring record still ranks in the top 8 today, of all-time scorers in San Antonio's history. Salinas was heavily recruited by more than 250 colleges. In the end, he chose Notre Dame Fighting Irish, where they ranked as one of the country's top 10 basketball teams all 4 years of Salinas' collegiate playing career. In 1978, Salinas helped Notre Dame make it to the Final Four, the only Fighting Irish basketball team to ever make it that far in school history.
And it's pandemonium. We've seen it before. It's happening again at Notre Dame, where the Irish have upset top-rated Marquette 65-59.
Some of Salinas' college teammates include NBA stars Bill Laimbeer, Orlando Woolridge, Kelly Tripucka, John Paxton, and Bill Hanslick. Salinas was drafted into the NBA by the Atlanta Hawks in 1981 and was a free agent for the San Antonio Spurs in 1982. He also played 2 years for Mexico's professional national team. After basketball, he became a highly successful business owner in the hearing aid industry in Arizona.
For me, it's surreal, only because those names that you just named are huge, huge names in the athletic world. You know, I myself was successful with San Antonio Independent School District, and being inducted to the Hall of Fame is a dream. How about that? So I never thought it would happen. I never envisioned that it would happen, especially when I was in school. But those names, Gabe Rivetta, Tommy Novas, I mean, those guys are legends. So it's an honor, for sure, to be part of the San Antonio Independent School District Hall of Fame as an inductee. I would say it, but I think it's emotional.
Please share it.
I can't share it without crying.
I think you should.
I just remember Mom and Dad, and now to bring my children here. Excuse me. It is an honor, and to know to come back, that family is family, and thank you for that.
Gilbert Salinas, a Burbank Bulldog and a 2019 honoree into the SAISD Athletic Hall of Fame.
All right, Gilbert, let's take a look at this plaque, shall we? Good flow back in the day, huh? Yep. How about that? All right, Gilbert, thank you. Welcome to the SAISD Sports Hall of Fame. Long overdue. Gilbert, can you first tell us, back playing basketball at Burbank, what are some of the things that stick out?
Well, I know that we were great friends, we were great teammates, and we had a great coaches, great nucleus of a lot of backers. We had the pep squad. I mean, I remember they were on this side, parents were here, but the whole place was filled. It was unbelievable. So it was just a great feeling, community, friends, and a lot of even people from other schools were cheering for us. I'm like, wow, what are you doing? What are you thinking? You go to Edison, you go to Jefferson, but they were all there cheering us on, and it was a wonderful experience.
What were some of the lessons that you learned back then that you're still taking with you now?
Wow. I'm trying to teach some of those lessons to my children. I'm still trying to do it for myself. I'm a business owner, and I just strive to be better every day. And that's what Coach Meyer, our head coach, did for us. Fundamentals, just the little things. And that's what I learned.
Okay, how about those practices at Notre Dame? What were those like day in and day out?
Well, my teammates from Notre Dame showed up today to surprise me. Some of them are here. Stand up, guys. Stand up. There you go. There they are. Notre Dame boys. So on the court, it was fierce, it was ugly. Played against Laimbeer every day, Bruce Flowers, Dave Batten, they all played in the pros. And I'd like to think that I belonged on the court with them, but I learned a lot. Boy, it was ugly at times. We were not allowed to curse or fight even though we did. And to this day, they're my friends, and I love them, and they taught me a lot. So, any homesickness being that far away from home, going all the way to Notre Dame? I'm homesick now. I live in Phoenix. You know, so back then it was even worse. I mean, I wanted to leave Texas too. I wanted to leave for one reason, to grow, to understand other cultures. And I learned a lot, and I'm still learning a lot, but I saw how other worlds were living. And I love people. I learned from my dad. And he taught me. Yeah, he did. I'd like to share a story with you, and I shared it with Gilbert earlier because it's just super bizarre in a lot of ways. Okay, so my first sporting events as a kid were Notre Dame athletic events. My dad went to graduate school. He was in the Army, but the Army sent him to Notre Dame to go to graduate school. So in second and third grade, that's where I was, going to football games, going to basketball games. So we were living in North Carolina at the time. We took a field trip to Washington, D.C., and I'm walking around with my green, ugly Notre Dame basketball shirt. It was like, didn't even match what you guys were wearing. I don't even know why it was green. But here I am, 15 years old. I got a green Notre Dame basketball shirt on. And I'm walking through the Smithsonian, and this man stops me. And he goes, "Hi, my name is Mr. Salinas. Do you like Notre Dame?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I love Notre Dame." He goes, "Well, my son Gilbert plays there." I went, "Gilbert Salinas? You know him?" I mean, it was a big thrill for me as a 15-year-old because, I mean, I lived and breathed. It was everything that I loved about sports back then as a kid. And so Mr. Salinas could not have been nicer, and your mom was there too, talking about their son. And as fate would have it, Mr. Salinas told me he was from San Antonio, and I went, "No way, dude, I'm moving there this summer. My dad's getting transferred there." He goes, "That's awesome." He goes, I'll introduce you to my son." He wrote down on a piece of paper that I had, it was about this big, with the Salinas household number. He's like, "When you come to San Antonio, I want you to call me, and I'll make the introduction." Well, I never got a chance to do that as a 15-year-old kid because his dad tragically passed away shortly thereafter. And I can't tell you how many times, living in San Antonio, that I picked the phone on the rotary dial and was trying to figure out a way to make a connection with you and tell you that story, how much your dad loved you and how proud of you he was and how great he made me feel as a kid. I mean, you know, they're telling me to get back in my group. I'm like, "No, man, I'm talking to Gilbert Salinas' dad. Get off me." But, you know, I think I saw you one other time at St. Helena's, and I wanted to tell you something then. I was just a kid, and it's like, I'm not going to do it. I didn't have the brain to go. Big brains, big giant brains. Oh, but I think there's a reason why we're both here tonight at the same time. I mean, your dad, I mean, the story means more now telling me, or me telling you and sharing with everybody, because now I'm a dad. And, you know, you couldn't, I'm telling you, the look on his face and everything that he was telling me about you and your teammates and that squad really made me feel like he was bringing all that stuff home to me. So thank you for being here, and thank you for listening to me, and I'm glad I had a chance to let you in on that. Gilbert, welcome, very deserving honor. Gilbert Salinas, San Antonio Independent School District Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you, SAISD, for letting me be here tonight, close to the microphone. I mean, I'm honestly embarrassed to be here with all this greatness. Thank you for allowing me to do this. Mario, thank you for asking me to do it. Anytime, I'm your guy. Hope I didn't screw it up too bad. Again, thank you very much. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Hey, Chuck, thank you so much. Fantastic. Great job. Okay, well, thank y'all very much. How cool was that? I mean, how cool was that? Absolutely. such wisdom and such just cool people. I mean, it's great being an athlete, being a good athlete, but just being a cool person too, that goes a long way in life. Adrian said something that just, I hope I don't mess this up. You said your path only has to make sense to yourself. I thought that is a great statement. Because we all have different paths, we all have different challenges in life. It only has to make sense to yourself. I think if you heard anything from everybody here tonight, you heard the same thing. Got to keep grinding, got to keep going. Surround yourself with good people, listen to your coaches, listen to your parents, and it's all going to be all right. All right, let's do this. Before you leave, I want all the inductees to come back on the stage with their plaques. We'll have y'all can come up and take pictures. Also, there's a backdrop right here you can take pictures. Also, out the front doors, the foyer is the Hall of Fame wall with the plaques are hung up on the wall. We are in no hurry to get out of here, but if I can get all the inductees to come back up with their plaques and get on the stage, and y'all can get your phones out, your cameras out, and snap away. Thanks again for a great evening. Congratulations, everybody, and be safe. Thank you. I told you we had you fumbling. Congratulations, man.